Hey everybody, what's going on? You are listening to the Playing On Podcast. My name is Carl Markowski, and thank you for joining me. This episode is brought to you by Dr. Paintball, where they will help you finance paintball gear, because we know paintball is freaking expensive. So what they do is they actually have a program set up where they can help you, finance all the gear that you need, paintball markers, gear bags, anything that you can think of, they can help you out with. They also have an About Me / kind of paintball blog section where they have all kinds of content that you can go look at. They have anywhere from tutorial videos to up to date gossip of what's going on in the paintball world. So make sure you head over there to drpaintball.com and they can help you get the paintball marker that you've always wanted. So that's awesome. Thank you, Dr. Paintball. We are also brought to you by Charm City Paintball, who they actually make these nifty little headbands right here. And this one I'll be giving away at the end of the podcast, so make sure you stick around to the end. But they use only name brand quality fabrics like Mossy Oak, Skyline, Realtree. They use like a genuine tiger stripe too, and military fabrics for all of their headbands, and all of them are a limited run of I think 10 or 15 or less. Excuse me. So it's a limited quantity. It's a great fabric. He also has he's getting some black Gucci in, and he uses high-end stuff like that. So make sure you head over to his Facebook page, Charm City Paintball, and you can see all of that and shoot him a few questions if you have any. So thank you to Charm City. We are also brought to you by Carbon Paintball, who make this base layer that I've been using ever since they had me try it on. But it integrates this compression fit, a pant and top with these elbow pads and a little bit of protection around the hips and everything when you're sliding. But I've been wearing those hands down have been some of the best pads I've ever worn. The knee pads stay in place, the elbow pads stay in place, and they're constantly trying to figure out how to make it better for the paintball player. So make sure you head over to carbonpaintball.com, and if you type in capital TPOP at checkout, you can get 10% off your entire order. So thank you to Carbon Paintball. And we are also brought to you by Planet Eclipse. Each and every episode is brought to you by Planet Eclipse. They manufacture the best paintball markers on the planet. Markers like the LV1, the newest LV1.5, the CS1.5. They've made the GSL. I mean, you guys know who they are. They are a company that strives to be the best, and they have been putting out year after year, the best paintball markers on the planet. So hats off to them, and thank you to them also for sponsoring this podcast. I shoot an LV1, and I will never turn back, because that thing it shoots tits, man. It's so sweet. So thank you to Planet Eclipse and all of our sponsors. This episode is with Alex Gray, and he is from Seattle Uprising. That team has, they haven't cracked. I don't really know if they made Sunday or not, but if they have, they haven't gone very far, but they've made some progress, and they have come pretty damn far, if you ask me, from the semi-pro days. And these past few years, or a year, man, I should have researched it a little bit, but it feels like I've been playing them forever, because so far every tournament this year we have played them, and they've beat us 2 out of the 3 times that we've played them already, and it's always a close match, man. They always give us a match, and Alex is one of those kids who will be in your face and plays lights out, and you know it because he called, Maddie and Todd up there in the booth. They're calling his name out. So, Uprising is a group of a bunch of hungry and young guys. So, dude, they're coming through, and this was an awesome conversation with Alex, just because it's cool to hear the side of the story of somebody coming up into the game, or who has come up through the ranks nowadays. He's only 22 years old, so he's still a little baby, and he came up in something that was a lot different than what I came up through. So to have his story and listen to it of how he came through, and it was really mosely just tournament paintball. It wasn't any kind of woods. It wasn't anything else. But modern paintball was pretty interesting. So I had a good time, and I hope you guys too. Thanks for listening. All right. Holy shit, that took forever. So Alex, how you doing, man?
Doing great, brother.
Where are you located at?
I'm located in Manhattan, New York, the Big Apple.
Really? Even though you play for Seattle Uprising?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So I go to school. I'm gonna be a senior at San Diego State. Mm-hmm. I grew up in Long Island, New York.
So hang on. So you played for Seattle Uprising. You live in Manhattan, and then you are a student at San Diego State.
And I was born in Atlanta, Georgia, so I've got the four corners of the country pinned.
Nice. So how did that... Okay, so let's do this. Before we get into your whole background and everything, let's go back to the beginning. Is your family based out of, you said Atlanta? That's where you were born?
My mom grew up in Greensboro, South Carolina, or North Carolina, sorry. My dad grew up in Long Island, New York. When I was born, they lived in Atlanta, Georgia. And because of my mom's business, she moved to New York. She worked in the city. And I grew up in a very small town called Manhasset, which is 25 minutes outside of the city. So it's like a commuter town for her to go back and forth every day. Mm-hmm. So all those families out there, my mom is she's self-made, and you women out there, you can do it too. She works every day, and she's provided for us my entire life.
So what does she do exactly again?
She works in the fashion industry. So they do yoga pants for like Kirkland yoga that you see in Costco, mm-hmm. and private label and all those types of things.
Now, did she started her own company, or is she working for somebody?
She didn't start her own company, but she has a partner, and they kind of started their own business together. It's called Authentic Lifestyle Products, and yeah.
Very cool, man. That's always something to be proud of, because in times, even back when your parents were coming up, and how old are you?
22.
22. So yeah, I mean they're not that old, and even my parents, but now it's so tough to start a business because there's so many different things going on, and everybody's trying to do the same thing, and it takes balls to start a business and to start out on your own, because I feel like nothing against people going to college or doing certain things or this or that, but it just takes balls to kind of dive into something and try and make it work when you really don't know the outcome. I mean, that's a business. You try and make something work when you don't know what's going to happen.
Absolutely. But on the same token, I think that although it's very difficult, there's never been a better time because of this digital age that we're living through. Mm-hmm. I mean, look at you right now. You're doing a podcast, and at the drop of a dime, everyone in the world can tune in and listen to you do that.
At least I hope everybody in the world would.
Yeah. Well, we're getting there. There. This is just the start. But yeah, now, I mean, with social media, with Instagram, I mean, you can build your business using influencers and marketing, and it's just different than email marketing or the word of mouth marketing that used to be once upon a time. Everything's just on a different level. I feel like the access to information and the access to reach people now it's limitless, honestly.
Yeah, and I see that now, because I kind of came up through. I'm 31, and I came up through the age where I didn't get a cell phone until I was 16, halfway through high school, and mm-hmm. even then it was so Stone Age, because I say Stone Age and cell phones came out how long ago, but at least the ones that I used, you had to, there was no texting, there barely was any. You had to call everybody, and the way I see, or the way I'm looking at things is like, you have to be authentic, or you have to be super original and know a lot of people and get your name out there, or you have to do something outlandish to be seen on the internet, because I feel like it's like a 50-50 or a catch-22, right? There's so many people, there's so many things that need to be filtered out to find whatever somebody's trying to find or look for, but at the same time, that access is available to anybody who wants it. You know,
absolutely.
It's so tough to find that middle ground and do that little thing that breaks out, because everybody's trying to do the same thing.
Absolutely. If I could get back to what you're talking about, because this started with starting a business.
Yeah.
The best advice that I have, I'm in the Lab and Entrepreneurship program at SDSU. The best advice that I've culminated for starting a business is, I remember in high school, I used to sit around with my buddies, and we would talk for hours about ideas. We would just, hey, what's the best idea we can think of that can start a business? And you're going to lose yourself in time, and you're just going to lose yourself with all the different variables. The best way to start a business is to discover a solution to a problem. And usually that problem is something you experience yourself, because you know how it affects you. And there's often, more than not, a better way that something can be done. Right. So if you're listening out there and you want to start a business, I would really start with thinking about what bothers you in society and what's your solution for that, and you go from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it just comes down to the basics of, you know, I don't want to pick that hot meat up with my hands, so what can I use to pick it up and put it in my mouth? So, you know, it's exactly that. It's solution to problems, and I agree completely.
Now, what you touched on, though, is a whole nother ball game, getting noticed. And that's like, you know, you could have a great idea, you can have a great solution, but marketing is a whole nother ball game. Breaking through all the attention that's there nowadays. It's crazy. I feel like commercials, we spend no time watching them nowadays, or wallpapers outside. Instagram is like this marketing of every business, and who can capture everyone's attention through a platform such as that maybe determines if they're successful. And that's a whole nother ball game than the solution itself.
Yeah, I mean, Instagram has become this self-advertising, you know, even though it's for, you know, the individuals to, you know, show the world themselves, or even just to do anything that they want, as far as they know it's public, but they make it like it's private, you know, some of the pictures that they take, but that's them, that's who they are. And it's I feel like, to me, Instagram is so much more of a better platform as far as I'm concerned, because Facebook is cool, but I love taking pictures. I love viewing things. I'm so visual, and I think Instagram is just, you know, one of the better ways to get your point across, or your message of whatever you're trying to do, or complete yourself. I don't know what you're trying to do. Yeah. Or
brand yourself.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And that's kind of what it is too. It's branding yourself. It's like, even with bands or individuals back then who didn't have the Instagram, the internet, and all that, they had to figure out a way to brand themselves. And I think that's why, you know, some of the stars out there were so outlandish back then, and, you know, were so, you know, flamboyant with their, you know, their performances on stage, right? Because it was all word of mouth. And then, so it's all the times, right? So now you have to take advantage of what is available for you at this time to get yourself, you know, noticed, or your idea noticed. And, you know, as we're talking about it too, I think about the show Shark Tank, right? So I think that's a perfect example, not only of being able to have an idea, or an idea that works and that is completely saleable, whatever. But you have to be able to sell it to those people, right? You could have a great idea, but if you can't pitch it and make them want it, then they have no reason to need it. You know what I mean?
The value of communication.
Yeah. It's so crazy.
The value of communication, and some can do it, some can't, and that's why, you know, pick your strengths, right? If you're that person that has the idea, and you don't think of yourself as the best marketer or the best communicator, team up. Find someone you know that has that skill, and you know, that's what makes it all work. You know, like in paintball, you got your back players, you got your mid players, and you got your front players. And when everyone's doing their job and doing it on a high level, it culminates to success. And that applies to everything.
Yeah.
Business, sports, I mean, you name it.
Yeah. Life, period.
Life. Life.
So let's go back to paintball.
Sure.
Since that's what we started.
Yeah,
I love
we're
it, though.
not a business podcast, but this is a paintball podcast.
But you know what? Everybody has an Instagram. Everybody has a Facebook. Everybody's trying to break out and get noticed. I don't want to see and be famous because, obviously everybody wants to succeed. Let's say it doesn't have to become famous. It just succeed in general, right? So
right.
Anyway, let's talk about paintball. So your family moved up to New York, mm-hmm. and you were how old when you guys moved up there?
8 years old.
Oh, so you're a little guy.
Yep, little Alex.
And
I used to get made fun of because I couldn't touch the air station. I had to jump on the counter to press it down.
So shit. When did you start playing, or when were you introduced to paintball?
Man, I was introduced to Cousins Indoor Paintball, which is Hop Hog, Long Island. I saw an internet ad. Actually, no, let's tell the fucking truth. I found out about paintball because I turned on ESPN in 2006 and I saw someone like yourself playing in the Mohegan Sun League.
I was in that. Yeah, I was in that. Yeah.
Dude, yes, I talk about this all the time. We can get into this, right? I want to see paintball back on ESPN one day. What's it going to take, etc. Mm-hmm. But I would not be playing paintball right now if I did not tune into ESPN and watch the Naughty Dogs, Dynasty, Excessive, all of these teams. Mm-hmm. And I was like, damn, this is a sport. These guys are running around. They're athletic. They're diving. They're shooting. They're running. Like, this is cool.
Yeah.
Let me go and figure it out, right? So, Google search, paintball. Next thing you know, you find yourself at an indoor paintball place. And as far as, like, competitive, for me, you just went for fun. You were scared as shit. You just hide behind the bunker. You really wouldn't engage. Yeah. And I remember they were called Monday Night Power Sessions. And that's when the divisional players would come down. And there would be like a line of 50 people waiting to get on the field. And, oh, man, it was so cool. Like, seeing these guys in jerseys with the guns that were, automatic and mm-hmm. Different colors, and it was just also fascinating to me.
Yeah, it was another world.
It's just another world. It's a whole nother ball game. Mm-hmm. And just like any other sport, I grew up playing football. I grew up playing lacrosse. I mean, there's a totem pole. There's a hierarchy to it. And you start at the bottom in anything that you do. And the only way to grow is to just play against the big boys.
Yeah.
And I took it from there.
Yeah, I think every field had some kind of like divisional night where everybody just got together. Like our field here in Toledo, we had Big Wet Wednesdays. And
Big Wet
Wednesdays. Dude, I miss it so much because we used to bring people in from players from Michigan, from Indiana, from Southern Ohio, and
what year is this?
Oh, man, this is probably 2003. 2002, 2003, 4, somewhere around there. Like right when I was playing for Tittman. Yeah.
Okay.
And dude, it was so much fun because it was all my friends and everything, and that's paintball, man. Is playing with your friends, having a good time, not taking it too serious. I don't want to say that back then paintball was more fun. I think it was internally for me. I've always been competitive. No matter what I've done, back then I was very competitive, but I was definitely in it for, to be a better paintball player, but to have fun, hands down. Back then, I saw my friends, we got together. That was something that we had in common, and that we just enjoyed playing with each other. Now it's a little bit different story. I have fun regardless, no matter what, but but there's a little bit more behind it than I want to win a fucking championship, I want to win a tournament, and I'm not letting anything stop me. So there's a few things that are a little bit different, but back then there was a lot that goes into it. And it's funny that you had discovered it and watched that back in 2006, and that's when I was on excessive. That was my second year on excessive, and there's a few guys even on my team that they're like, oh yeah, I remember when you were playing on excessive, and I was like, man, am I that old? I can't believe I've been playing for this long, and I'm still like somewhat relevant, and keeping up with you kids and everything, and it's so much fun though, and it kind of goes to show that anybody can play, man. You put your mind to it, and depending on where you want to play, obviously I'm not going to be able to play up front, or you're not going to be able to play up front for your entire career. I'm
already feeling it.
I was going to say, maybe I'll just
my lower back, bro. My knees.
I'll just play front until I cannot play anymore, and then I'm just going to stop. I won't even play back.
Yep, it's the price we pay, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you wish you could go back to yourself in 2003 at the age you are now and tell yourself, like, hey, man, like, you should enjoy this more? Or do you feel like you enjoyed it to the fullest back then?
I don't think
anything you would change?
I don't think I would change anything, because I don't think changing anything would result in the outcome we have now.
Okay.
But I feel like there's things that I would tell myself. I would tell myself to, cherish these moments a little bit more, and then don't take them for granted so much, because it doesn't last. Like, I'm playing paintball at the level I am now, but my body's not where it was, and I've gained the knowledge, but it's just you take things for granted when you're younger. You feel like you're invincible and that nothing can happen to you, and that's kind of how I was playing, and I was so naive, man. I was so naive. I'd probably slap myself in the face and be like, dude, settle down.
Get it together, bro.
Get it together. You're having fun. I understand that. But relax. Yeah.
It's crazy. No, you don't know what you have until it's gone.
No, you don't. And I try and tell everybody this all the time. It's like, I lost, in the last 5 years, I've lost almost all of my grandparents and, some aunts, some uncles, a few friends. And it's...
Sorry to hear that.
Dude, no, I mean, it's life, man. It's crazy because and my grandmother had this funeral. It was a celebration of life, and it kind of changed my perspective on what I wanted to do with God forbid something were to happen to me and my wife had to bury me, whatever. But it was called this celebration of life, and there was no casket, there was no black, there was no there were people mourning, but there was a projector, and it was just showing all these moments and times of happiness with her, and there was food, and there was family, and it was gathering, and it was a celebration of life. And I 100% think that's what I want to do, or I know that's what I want to do. And that's what you should do, man. Whenever somebody passes, or you want to celebrate every single moment that you have with somebody. I mean, you have to. It's just you never know what's going to happen in the next 10 minutes, tomorrow, in a year from now. No one knows. No one knows. You can only prepare.
Damn, that's crazy. It's on the topic of death and family death. When I was a senior in high school, so this was probably 2014 or 2013 going into 2014. Mm-hmm. My cousin was 26 or 27, and he took his own life, and it took us all by surprise. I didn't even know at the time, because as you get older and you get more responsibilities, you get deeper into what you have going on. Yeah. And it's no one's fault, right? We all get busy with responsibilities and priorities and life. Mm-hmm. But, I just never knew at the time how uncomfortable someone like he was in a setting. Yeah. Because people, they're reserved. They don't open up. They show a smile, and everyone goes on a different journey in life, and different things happen. I don't know what added up to that moment for him. But when I was at the funeral, seeing how young he was and to see him go, I did a lot of reflecting myself, a lot of perspective. And I said, all right, what if that was you? And what if you were to go out this early? What would you have to say for yourself? Mm-hmm. Right? Like, would you be satisfied? Would you be proud of your accomplishments? And, truth be told, I said to myself, I could be doing more.
Yeah.
That's what I said to myself, right? I can be doing more. Whatever it is, you can be doing more. You can be doing better. And that kind of sparked my relentless journey to play professional paintball.
Yeah. Which we will get to.
Yeah,
I promise.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But
for all of everybody listening, we will get there.
Yep, absolutely. But different moments in life, right? They spark different inspirations.
Mm-hmm.
They spark different motivations. I think to view everything as a positive is the only way we can do it.
Yeah.
Right? And it's been a positive journey, so I can't complain.
Good. No, I agree, man. I think that if you don't look at this thing we call life in a positive manner, it just attracts negativity and it attracts negative vibes. And you know somebody like you said, your cousin was the one who took his own life. Like you can try so hard. You can try to put yourself in his shoes, but you're in your shoes. You can only imagine, and you can't even do that because you really don't know what was going through his head. And that's why I try and go through every single day with a smile on my face, treat everybody as if, it was the first time, well, not as if it was the first time meeting them, but just like, as if they were having a great day and I'm having a great day, and I don't want to, put a damper. I don't know what they're going through, but I don't want them after our experience to have a bad day. If anything, I want to make them smile. So, because you don't know. No one knows what everybody else is going through. And
100%.
You just, I don't know. Life's too short. Life's too short to even try and be negative about anything. And obviously things are going to happen. But you have to pull the positivity out of it. Otherwise, it's just going to overcome you.
100%. Mindfulness, awareness, all of those things. And especially within the paintball community, it's a small niche community. We all need to have each other's backs. I see such a difference when I play in America versus I play in Europe. I've been playing this past season. It's very competitive in America. That's our culture, right? It's an individualistic culture.
You have to be number one.
You have to be number one.
Yeah.
And when I play in Europe and just playing this last tournament in London in July and the Nations Cup, it's unbelievable, man. Like, everyone's high-fiving. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter where you're from. It's honestly just like this joy of competing for fun.
Yeah. More
so than competing. And if you don't perform at a certain level, like, you're going to be miserable for, X amount of time.
Yeah.
I don't know, just something I've noticed or experienced. So definitely, as far as what you're saying about you don't know what anyone's going through. I try to catch myself every day doing that, even when I'm stressed, is to just anyone I interact with, hopefully I can do it with a smile. And we all have the power to make each other's days.
Yeah. Wake up hungry and go to bed full. I mean,
that's great stuff.
Yeah, as far as emotions go, like that, or just your day in general, just. So I love the tangents. That's great. Let's go back to when you were watching me cut people down on ESPN, and you decided to play paintball because you watched me playing. I'm just kidding. So after you watched, what's up?
No, I was gonna say where I got to know you was ETVs back on iTunes in 2008, I believe it was, when you were playing for Avalanche.
I remember those.
Oh yeah, man. I was a junkie in like 6th grade. I was downloading all of those episodes, seeing you compete at like Huntington Beach, and I was hooked. And that's the power of broadcasting, right? You never know who you're going to reach, and whoever you reach, you never know what journey they're going to take, and you never know where you can find yourself if you put your mind to it.
Oh so. Yeah, I'm still a paintball nerd too, man. I watch all the videos and everything like that. I'm not really big on, and I've never really been big on forums and going on there and like typing up on forums. I've always been visual, like I said. It's I'm videos and everything.
PB Star.
Oh yeah. Yep. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I used to watch all those X-Ball matches.
Yep, there's Warpig had some. Warpig had more pictures than PB Star, and there's all of Dan Napoli's work of Jawbreakers and all that, and can't forget about Pat Have you ever seen like Sunday Drivers or Push or anything like that?
I've been told to watch those.
Homework. Homework.
Yeah, I gotta watch those.
I'm a big fan of the Sunday Drivers.
Okay.
So I recommend that. But Push is a must watch, but so is Sunday Drivers, and the serial killer series 1 and 2. Dude, those are nasty.
Yeah, no, I've seen through YouTube actually some of the serial killers' work, and I love it. I love getting to know characters, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone's got a story. Every individual, and we need to do a better job of telling those stories and allowing our audience to connect with each individual athlete, because there's value to that.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a big reason anyway why I'm doing this. I want everybody to know, where everybody's coming from, and what better way than good old conversation, and with a little help from video.
No doubt.
All right, so you discover paintball. You beg your mom to go to Cousins and go check it out, and you go to these not Big Welt Wednesdays. What'd you guys call them?
They were the power sessions, Monday night power sessions. Yep.
Nice. And did you instantly start trying to play like at the tournament level? Not the tournament level, but as speedball goes. Like, did you try and get into that right away, or did you start a little bit in the woods, or where'd you go as far as that?
Never in the woods. That's not in my paintball DNA. I know a lot for the up and coming players, right? Speedball is all we know, and I know there's a lot of value to the woods and whatnot. But especially anyone I interact with on a daily basis, when you tell them you play paintball, their first impression is the woods, and that's always tough for me because it's been a sport to me ever since I've been involved.
Yeah.
The first tournament I ever played was a Young Guns 3-man tournament at the indoor, and ever since then it's just always been competing.
Yeah, that's crazy because I honestly only played half of my first year, I think, was in the woods, and that was just going here and there, not really knowing the tournament side until I found the indoor, and then instantly just went over to speedball and started playing it because I'm so competitive. I played football and baseball during my high school career, and just that competitive level, I felt more on the speedball field than I did in the woods.
Yeah.
So did you have any friends or anything like that were into paintball, or were you kind of a lone soldier going out there finding it yourself?
Yeah, so you make friends, right? Like when you go to the field. I didn't have anyone from my town necessarily that was into it as much as me, and it was kind of like, hey mom, like, can you take me to the field? Hey dad. Every to get to the field was always a 45-minute journey or convincing priority. For me, it wasn't just easy because they're like, well, you want to go play paintball? I'm like, I'm so passionate about it. Please take me, drop me off, go do something for a couple hours, and then, come pick me up. And I thank them so much now, just even thinking about that right now, looking back on all those nights. I mean, once a week they did that for me. So that was so huge. And as you go to the field, right, like it's you're dropped off into this world, this whole setting that you kind of just fall in love with, and different characters, and you watch people just come and go in paintball. There's friends you make, and they do real life, and you're still going. And then there's new people that you make, and you travel to new places, and there's new friends that you make, and they come and go. And if you want to stay, it's yours for the taking. It's not going anywhere, or at least I hope not. So
were you? You said you played lacrosse and football in high school?
Yes.
And none of those guys played paintball or knew what paintball was?
I got made fun of, dude. Like, I got it bad in middle school. Like, the insecure 7th grade stage? Like, I got it like, oh, man, let's go with our Tippmann fucking 95s and let's go shoot each other in the woods.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, dude, sick. You keep doing what you're doing. Like, I'll compete with you in this, but I'm going to go fucking play this as well because it brings me fulfillment.
Yeah.
And I'm happy, so.
Nice. Well, so you play a 3-man tournament. How'd you guys do?
Oh man, one match. We won one match. One, yeah.
Nice.
I remember too. It was the reason we won the match was because I made a conscious decision in my mind to make a move, to go bunker someone, and that's the first time I ever really took a leap like that and caught someone off guard. And it's just crazy thinking about it right now. Like, but that's what it is, right? Like, just making a decision consciously, like, I'm gonna send this right now. I'm not gonna be reserved. I'm not gonna try not to make a mistake. I'm gonna push the envelope, force the issue, create something, make something happen.
Right.
And we won the point. I ran through on one kid and kind of shot the other kid. The feeling it gave me is indescribable in that moment. It was, I mean, we all know it, right? Whatever sport you play, you shoot a lacrosse ball and it's top shelf. You know the feeling that you get. You catch a touchdown pass, you know the feeling that you get. Same thing in paintball, and maybe even a little bit more when you bunker someone. That feeling is unbelievable.
Yeah. So you guys, you win one game, and you're not distraught or anything, right? You're hooked. You're ready to play more. You're ready to get better, or are you kind of like, oh man, I don't know if this is for me. We didn't do really that well. Like, where was your mindset at that point?
Too hooked. Ever since then, it was forget about it. It's like, what can I do to get better? What gear do I need? Like, let's go all in on this. And balance, right? Of course, you have to balance with school and other sports you're playing and whatnot. But that fulfillment that I got that moment was unmatched in anything that I had ever done until that time.
Nice. Now that you are hooked, where do you keep playing with these guys that you played in the 3-man tournament, or what was the next team that you played for, and what was your journey onto Seattle Uprising? Where did that come from?
Let's see. World Cup 2007, and I'll try to do this in order. World Cup 2007, I flew down and I guested with Long Island Caretakers, Division 4.
You're looking at notes, aren't you?
No, I'm not.
You're not looking at notes? You look like you're looking at notes.
No, this is off the cuff, bro.
No, that's all right.
Long Island Caretakers, 2007, I played like a point. But I remember watching the pros from the stands for the first time at a PSP tournament. It's just so unbelievable to me. 2008, we kind of created a team in Long Island, and Murderers Row was the team name. I remember my dad helped me name that team. And I shouldn't have been playing Division II at the time, but I kind of just got forced in it. And this is how I got better. So the guys who are the Brooklyn Bears right now, the successful semi-professional team, they were Riptide Division I at the time, and we were trying to play Division II, and we would scrimmage them every Wednesday night, I believe it was. And I just got the shit kicked out of me every single week. Like, every night I got sent to my coach would send me to the little rollie next to the X or to the X or to some 50-yard line every time. And I remember just getting 10 on my back every single night. And dude, that's the only way to get better. Yeah. Right? Is to just get your shit pushed in, and then all of a sudden you start fighting back a little bit more each week. And then that's how you ascend really quickly, honestly, is you match yourself up against competition that's better than you, and you have no choice. Either you can fold and you can take your beatings, or you can start fighting back, and you'll start thinking quicker, you'll start processing things quicker, and the game speeds up at that level.
It was like I just did a podcast with Nick Laval, and him and I were kind of talking about, or he actually had brought up how he thinks some of the top players play, and it's figuring out these different problems faster than the other players. And I think that's kind of what you're talking about, is you want to match yourself up with somebody equal if not hopefully better than you across the field, and be able to, outwit them or out snap them or something like that. And that's what I feel like I've always done, right? Is I went out and I played with my friends, and what I would always do is if there's not really the competition that I feel is there to kind of, put me on my heels, then I would always go opposite of all my friends. Mm-hmm. And anytime I did that, I feel like I just started, slowly getting better and being able to figure out those problems that much faster.
Absolutely.
So, for about the next 10 minutes or so, we are going to try something new on the Playing On podcast. Hopefully it works. I don't know if it's going to or not, because I'm wearing headphones and I'm using an external microphone. So I'm going to try and do it through my laptop speakers, and hopefully the mic doesn't pick it up too much, and I don't want to get too much feedback or whatever, but just so people can hear. But we're going to go live on my Facebook, and I believe Alex is going to go live on his Instagram. We're going to take some questions from some people on the interwebs.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I posted about this earlier today on Facebook, Instagram, and I told people to comment on the live sections any questions that they had, where they're from, their name, their team, etc. Mm-hmm. And some people already commented, so I thought maybe we can start off with some of those to get the ball rolling.
Yeah, we can do that.
And then when people start commenting, we can answer on the spot.
And we will go back to Alex's story on how he got to Seattle Uprising, but just for the next 10 minutes, I'm going to go live on mine just to make sure I have it set up correctly, which I am live. How's the audio? Is the audio still good? I'm not feeding back. Okay. I could probably take these off then. All right. So, you can kind of hear me through the...
Pam, I'm here with Carl Markowski, player for Chicago Aftershock. We're doing the Playing On podcast, and I had the idea for him today to do a live format. He's live on Facebook right now. Follow him at Carl Markowski. I'm live here on Instagram, and we want to engage the community. We want to engage the paintball community. We want to see where you're from, what team you play for, and we want to allow you to answer some questions. So I'm going to get started with some questions that were sent to me today, and then we will try to answer questions in the comment sections. So first, Brad Baldwin from San Francisco. You guys all know him from Instagram as @FromInsideTheNet. I think he's the best photographer in paintball.
Oh, Brad. I know Brad.
Yeah. He wants to know, Carl, what would you like the NXL to do to further the pro division and bring in outside sponsorship dollars?
That's I feel such a tough question, because I feel like everybody is trying to answer that and nobody has come up with the right decision. But I would like to see to possibly have maybe the outside companies like GoPro, Red Bull, something along those lines, even Nike or Adidas, have them, instead of sponsoring the individual teams, have them actually maybe sponsor the league, increase the pay or the purse, the payout, whatever you want to call it, and really focus on getting that pro game nice and tight and visual for anybody new watching the game. That's what we're trying to do, because it's so complicated of a game to try and follow and to try and pick up when you really have no idea what's going on. You want to figure that out, and I feel like if we... Dude, it would be so much more equal too across the board if each team had some kind of budget that they were by, but nobody does. The guys that are at the top of their game are getting paid to play and are playing every single weekend when they can. I'm not saying that the lower teams don't have that, but we don't have the same opportunities, I feel, and I think just bringing that money into the league and maybe increasing the purse and putting money into advertising, I think would be best for the team, or for the league anyway.
No doubt. My answer to this, Brad, I think I mentioned this to my boss earlier this summer, Gary Vaynerchuk. Some of you know him on Instagram as @GaryV. I told him one of my goals is to get paintball back on ESPN. I told Carl earlier, the reason I'm playing now is because I saw it on ESPN back in 2006. And he said to me, don't think about it just trying to be on ESPN. Think about the digital age that we're living to with the over-the-top content, which is streaming live on the internet. And think about different mediums you can stream paintball through, like something like a Facebook. Like if Facebook were to sign with Professional Paintball right now, the streaming capabilities are unlimited. So that's one thing, is the different methods of streaming that I think we need to take advantage of.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is the format, right? So I love X-Ball. I love playing 5-on-5. It's great. But I think for the average viewer, it's very tough to follow, right? The one thing that paintball lacks that other sports have is a focal point. Paintball has 5 guys doing 5 different things. And whether it's basketball, whether it's football, they have one ball, and anyone can follow what that's doing. If it goes in the net, that's good. So I think we need to limit the format. I really think it should be down to 2, maybe 2-on-2, maybe even 3-on-3. But I think that format with a smaller field with an enclosed arena, kind of like an indoor arena football league almost. Like the vision I have is people in the stands with the pocket hands and limited paint as well. I think the matches kind of last too long, and some of the strategy is too elongated, and I think maybe 1 to 2 pods max. So let's get to the next question. Daniel Bergman from LA, he's a free agent, and he wants to know, what do you love most about our sport?
There's so much. But I'd say what I love most about it is the fact that I'm still able to do this, and I'm still friends with everybody that I've seen over the years, and the camaraderie, I think, of paintball. I think that's the biggest thing that I like, because I've gained so many friends, not only on the pro level, but when I first started playing, I've gained so many friends through paintball, and I think the camaraderie and the friendship is hands down probably the best thing that I love about paintball.
Absolutely. I totally agree with Carl. I think the relationships you make, that's really what matters. If I could add anything to that, I'd say probably traveling. It's really awesome to travel, who would have known I would have picked up this sport and been able to go to London, to go to France, to go to Europe, there's plenty of opportunities. Paintball exists all over the world. And if you can travel and see the world and at the same time bring your paintball gun, I think that's one of the coolest things.
Yeah.
Carl, do you have any question on your Facebook live feed, or do you want me to?
No, just people watching, observing.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to continue.
Yeah.
Dylan Boyum from Sacramento. He plays for DMG. He wants to know, who are your 3 best gunfighters in the current pro division?
In the current pro division, top 3 gunfighters, I would have to say, in no particular order, I would have to say Archie has a nasty shot. Goldman has a pretty nasty shot. And my last one would have to be Corey Field has a pretty damn good shot too.
There you go.
Yeah.
I practice him pretty frequently.
Yeah.
Dylan, I would have to say to you, Man, Britnikov on the Russians, he
Yeah, that's
made
a
me
good
look
one.
stupid one time. I was in the 50-yard line. I had his back. He stepped in, jumped over the top, and put one ball kind of on me. That was pretty shameful. I made it to the one-on-one final when I was in France in 2015, and I went up against Kevin Coombe, and I got him the first time. The second time, I bounced him, and you know I bounce you, Kevin. But no, he took me down the second match, and then the third match to win. So he's got a pretty nasty snapshot. And then I'll shout out Graham Arnold on my team, Seattle Uprising.
There you go.
Before Atlantic City, man, we did a one-on-one tournament kind of at the end of our practice, and he just made us all look stupid. Like he was having a really good day, so
Nice.
I'll give him a shout out.
I have a question from Brandon Drury. I hope I said his last name right. He said, would love to see more big name companies make their way into sport. Well, actually, just commenting on what we were talking about. But I mean, that's the goal, really, to bring more money into sports and make it bigger. And I'm not just saying for the payout for the pros. I'm just saying to bring more attention, more or less, to the sport. I mean, because I feel like we're passed up and not taking it as seriously as I feel like we should. So.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, can I keep going, Carl?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Next, we have Grant Piane from Kansas City, St. Louis. He plays for St. Louis Ambition, and he wants to know what's the biggest difference between divisional and professional paintball.
Timing and decision making.
Yeah. I'm probably gonna say the same.
And the two might coincide. They might pretty much be the same thing, depending on how you look at them. But the decision making, and I guess the decision making and the time of those decisions, as the faster those are made between divisions, and I think the jump from divisional to pro, those decisions are like this, and obviously they have to be the right ones. But so maybe that's it. That's the choice that you make and the time of the choice.
Yeah, Grant, I agree with Carl. I think timing for sure. At the professional level, it's really tough. It's like 1 second things come down to, and definitely that decision making.
There's less mistakes being made.
Less mistakes,
Yeah.
Absolutely. If I can relate that to sports. Conor McGregor says that timing beats power, and precision beats power, and timing beats speed. So if you can be precise, and if you can have good timing at the professional level, those guys that you see doing it at the top level and doing it best consistently, they've mastered those two components.
Dude, I heard he flew on the exact same jet as Floyd Mayweather to their next promotional venue or whatever.
Dude, it's all a facade. They're collecting everyone's money.
Oh my God, I swear up and down. I mean, I think the fight is going to be real. Don't get me wrong, the fight's going to be real. But dude, they are just forking in the money and just having everybody they're just eating it up and just eating it up. And I'm like, dude, the second I watched the first promo of the fight, I was like, dude, this whole thing is just a giant facade, like you said. And they're just going to, both are going to get rich, not have to do anything anymore, because everybody's going to, well, this guy's going to win, well, this guy's going to, does it really matter? Because after this, Floyd Mayweather will go back into retirement, and Conor won't have to do anything for the rest of his life. Doesn't matter if he wins or loses. So I'm not going to watch the fight. Right now, I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to pay money to watch the fight, because I could care less.
I'm for sure watching the hype.
It'll be on the internet
fight
tomorrow.
Is everything.
After the fight, yeah.
All right, next we have Cal Leach. He's from Austin, Texas. He plays for AC Diesel, Division II. He wants to know, how much do you think the sport is going to change in the next few years?
I think the sport changes every year, in very small ways. But I think they're going to try and find... 5-man works, but I think they're going to try and find that right fit. I think the limited paint thing is going to happen. I think that's our one limiting factor, or that's not being limited right now, is the paint. it's just finding it's experimental. Every year is experimental because we haven't found the right mixture yet. And until we do, every year is going to be a new venue, a new rule, a new format. You know, something's always going to be changing.
I agree. Cal, I would say not much, right? Like there are little changes every year, but as far as major change, I think that we need to be the change if we want to see the change happen. All of us need to, combine our efforts, and that's the only way we're going to see it. Which is my goal, back on ESPN one day, or another platform. Who knows what that's going to be? Yeah. But I don't have a time frame for that right now for you. But I will tell you that I love what Carl's doing for the sport right now. Things like podcast.
I'm trying.
Yeah, no, you're doing an awesome job, man. You are, and we need to grow the sport however we can. So
cool.
All right,
yeah, I agree.
Go ahead.
No, I agree. I agree with you, man.
All right, Jackson Frey from Indiana. He plays for Blast Camp Revolution D3. He wants to know: do you have any tips for coming off of an injury?
Rest. Do not rush into anything. I mean, that's the biggest thing for me when I had my my meniscus surgery was rest, because if you don't allow yourself to fully recover and you rush into anything, like just trying to get back on the field and try to do what you were doing, you are subconsciously going to push your body without knowing it. And you're going to try and step one way that you used to or been able to, and all you're going to do is tweak yourself, and you're going to set yourself back weeks, if not months. So give yourself plenty of rest, patience, and just take care of yourself, man. There's just it'll all come back. Just slow it down. It'll come back.
No, I definitely agree with that, Carl. I had a shoulder injury in 2014. It happened right before one of the tournaments. It was Chicago in June. And I can't miss a tournament. You know what I mean? Yeah. Whatever it is. There's only 5 of them a year, so I'm going to do whatever I have to do to play that tournament. And I rushed it. I mean, I think I pulled a ligament in my shoulder, and I played the tournament the following Friday. And still to this day, it bothers me.
Dude, I was really lucky when I was young. Dude, but you're young though, man. Like you will bounce back from things like that. But if you don't, take care of yourself, it can be. I mean, look at Marcelo. I think Marcelo had both of his knees had surgery or something like that. It's just taking care of yourself.
Absolutely. All right, next we have Travis Crawford. He's from Michigan. He plays for Team Insanity. He wants to know, what can we do to grow paintball? I think we kind of touched on that. Is there anything you want?
Yeah, there's just, dude, be a good person at the paintball field. Share your knowledge, share your equipment. Sometimes I don't share my equipment because if I watched them the point before and they slammed everything on the ground, I like my stuff in one piece. If that makes me selfish, then whatever. But no, just help out people who are just getting into the sport, because those are the people of the next generation. And if you don't, then those people aren't going to come and have a good time. And all they're going to say is, well, I didn't have a good time playing paintball because of these other guys that were there, and I'm never going to play again. So just be a good person at the paintball field. That's how you're going to grow the sport.
Okay. Next we have Jay Diertz. He's from Temecula, California. He plays for the SoCal Sonics, and he wants to know your favorite thing to do outside of paintball.
My favorite thing... So I'm going to take favorite thing as just anything in general. But I'm going to say just spending time with my family and my son, my wife, just enjoying life with them and watching my son grow up and teaching him things and watching him learn, how to do anything. It's just, I love doing it every day.
That's good stuff. If I could add to that, Traveling with friends. That's my favorite thing to do. There's nothing like it. Experiencing things that you've never done before, and doing it with people that you care about. It's really awesome. So my goal in life is to work hard and to be able to travel when I want. That's special to me.
Yeah.
So. All right, next we have Pat McKenna from Spartanburg, South Carolina. He's the Tampa Bay Damage coach.
Nice.
He asked us, where do we see our teams 3 years from now, and more importantly, ourselves?
3 years from now, I hope to see myself still playing. I'm on a 5-year plan right now, depending on how my body does. But I see myself still playing, possibly still playing for Aftershock. But the team itself, I feel like, is slowly but surely on the rise. I think a few things need to be just taken care of and set in place. And I think we could be competitive again. But until those happen, I think we are just going to continue to grow and hopefully, find that podium eventually.
Absolutely. Shout out to Juicy Jewels, by the way. He asked for a shout out. Where do I see my team 3 years from now? I see us, sky's the limit for Uprising. If we can stick together financially, if we can figure it out and keep doing what we're doing, I think the sky's the limit for our team. I think especially this season, we've gotten better every single tournament we've played. And if we can keep up the consistent the work, sky's the limit. For me personally, where do I see myself in 3 years? I have no fucking idea at all. I mean, I'm 22 now, so at 25, I have goals for myself, absolutely, but I don't know where I see myself. I would say a better version than the 22-year-old self I am right now, because I'm just going to continue to work hard and focus on what's important in my life and see where that takes me.
Yeah.
So
nice.
Next we
let's do a couple more questions and then we'll go back to the podcast.
Cool. Sammy Miami from Philadelphia. He plays for the Seals, and he wants to know, what's your morning routine?
My morning routine is I usually wake up anywhere between like 5:30 and 6 o'clock. If it's a day where I'm not having to drive very far for work, I usually wake up, make a cup of coffee. I make 4 eggs, and I usually eat about a half of an avocado. And I try and get a 10-minute meditation session in the morning and a quick stretch, and then I am out the door. That's usually on a day I'm not trying to get out and work out, but that's usually my morning session.
I like the avocado that you threw in there.
Yeah, my son loves them, and I made him love them because I eat them all the time. So
healthy fats.
Yeah.
What's my morning routine? I suck. I am not a morning person at all. I'm a night owl. If I had it my way, I could fall asleep at 3 and sleep in until 9 or 10. But I usually get up really slowly. I do like a power shake every morning. So I put a little Isopure protein in there, Chobani yogurt, a little bit of kale, banana, blueberry, strawberry, ice, blend it up, and then I'm kind of on my way for the day. So
nice.
Focus on your nutrition. It's important. What you eat determines how you feel, all of that stuff. So, all right, we have a couple more.
All right.
Randy, I don't want to butcher his last name. Sorry, I'm just going to say Randy. He commented in the feed. He wants to know, what's your favorite music to listen to before a game to pump you up?
So there's a few, like, because there's a couple different moods.
Well,
what's that?
He says pregame ritual, pregame music, all of those things.
All right. So pregame ritual. I usually try and find a quiet spot and take about 5 minutes to myself and just kind of sit Indian style, just kind of close my eyes and just take in the moment and breathe, kind of lose myself for the minute before we play. And then as far as music goes, when I was younger, I used to listen to music all the time before I played to kind of get me pumped up. And now I usually listen to it when I'm headed to the field. Just kind of don't want anybody to talk to me or anything, kind of listen to music. But at the field, I'm kind of taking in the environment until obviously before the game. But now it's more or less kind of like I listen to a lot of folky music now and a lot of acoustic stuff. And like I really still enjoy like the Postal Service and who I can't even think of who else I'm listening to now. But the Avett Brothers, just kind of bands like that.
Nice. All right, let me try to answer this. I love music. If you ever see me out walking around, I probably have headphones on. I was just always that way. What do I listen to? Anything, honestly. But if I had a favorite artist, Wiz Khalifa is my favorite artist. I think he's great. He has all sorts of variety of music. I love my boy Martin Garrix. I get made fun of all the time for liking him, but I think he crushes it in the EDM game. Really pumps me up. But sometimes, like getting pumped up and being anxious can kind of make me make mistakes on the field sometimes, and being calm is important. Mm-hmm. So tropical house, sometimes I'll throw that in there and just kind of calm down, stay focused. Pre-game rituals. Stretching, honestly. It's really, really important to stretch. Every day you go into anything, I would stretch before it. Really get in tune with your body before you go into competition. Yeah. Touching the one thing I'm trying to do now that I'm trying to perfect is a handstand. As far as that whole meditation life and the Om symbol and all that, once I can perfect a handstand, I'm going to feel very accomplished. But it's a work in progress. Because when you find balance outside the paintball field, I guess you can find it on it as well. Yeah.
Nice.
Last question.
All
right. Here we go. Rich Val from New York. He wants to know your favorite accomplishment.
My favorite accomplishment in paintball or in general?
In paintball.
Let's say paintball, since it's paintball related. My favorite accomplishment probably would have to be turning pro. Would be one of them. Because that was definitely a big dream of mine that I was able to accomplish. But it was earning my first pro win with Excessive. I think that was big for me.
That's awesome. All right, best accomplishment. As far as a team. For Uprising, winning World Cup in 2015 was so huge, man. I only dreamed about winning World Cup growing up, coming up the divisional ranks, and we had a very successful season. It was so much fun, and winning with the team, I mean, that feeling is it's indescribable. It's like so many hours go into it, and to actually have validation for the work that you put in is something really special, and to share it with those you care about. And personally, when I was in France competing in the Millennium Tournament, I think there was about 64 competitors in a one-on-one tournament, and I made it to the final. And the process of getting there was really crazy. I remember one point. I was going up against this guy, and he kind of went to the 50-yard line on one side of the field, and I went to the 50-yard line on the other side of the field. And this guy just starts taking off for the buzzer. And I could have stopped and tried to shoot him as he was getting there, but something in my mind was like, all right, this is just a race to the buzzer right now. Who's ever going to get this is going to win. Mm-hmm. And I took off. I dove over the start box. I hit the buzzer and got into the finals. It was crazy.
Oh, jeez, nice.
Yeah, no, it was something you would do, Carl. I've seen you get out there.
Yeah, I try.
Yeah. And I think that's it. That's all we got for the moment.
Cool. I plan on doing one of those things like one of those lives. Hopefully soon. I'd love to do one in Chicago or at World Cup. Do a live podcast. Like be at the event and be recording a podcast and have people sit down and talk for a little bit as they're going by, and so that's hopefully my next thing that I'm going to be doing.
Hell yeah. All right. Is there anything you want to advise them? Obviously, go check out your podcast.
Yeah, just go check it out. Listen to this one when it comes up, and yeah, pretty much we'll see you everywhere.
Sweet. All right, yeah, so we're going to get back to the Playing On podcast. Go search that on iTunes. You can download it. I'm doing it right now with Carl. He'll be airing it Friday, I believe.
Yeah, Friday or Saturday.
Friday or Saturday, give or take. And, yeah, we hope to see you soon. Thank you for joining the live session. Hopefully we brought you some value. We love hearing your questions, and let's continue to grow the sport.
Nice. All right.
All right.
Hopefully everybody's still listening. That was a trial. That was just a new trial thing that we wanted to try out, just to kind of bring some people on as far as the internet goes. Trying to get that going.
I thought that was awesome.
Yeah. No, I enjoyed it. I thought it was cool. I mean, people love doing that. People love interacting with people, and being able to talk to somebody like yourself or myself or any pro or anybody out there. And I get so many messages of people saying, "Oh, I can't believe you responded to me, and it's so cool." That I was like, man, does nobody really respond to anybody like when they get asked questions or whatever? I do it just because I was in that position once, and it sucked when I didn't get an answer from anybody. And I try to respond as quickly as possible to people.
No doubt. And they, a lot of them are going through the same journey to professional that you went through.
Yeah.
So hopefully they took your answers and they did something they're going to do something with them, rather.
Yeah, for sure. Where did Uprising come from? How did that journey happen? Where did that whole thing start?
For me?
Yeah.
Okay. I was in 2014, my senior year, kind of getting back to what I told you about my cousin, right? I decided to dedicate more and more time to playing paintball. I was flying out to California from New York in the off season, trying out for the Ironman that year. So in the process of trying out through the Ironman, I met Nate Schrader, who was playing for the Ironman at the time.
Yeah.
And somehow he got me on a Canadian X-Ball League team, and some of the Ironman guys were going to be on the roster along with Nate. And Graham Arnold was on the roster. I never met him before. And I met him at the tournament. I think it was in June of 2014. And after the tournament was over, he said, "Hey, who are you playing with?" I said, I'm going to college in the fall. I'm not really sure, kind of up in the air. And he said, "Hey, do you want to come play for Uprising?" They were Division I at the time. And I said, yeah, sure. Let's give it a shot. I didn't know anything about the team, to be honest, other than competing against them in Division I. I think it was the first tournament of the year in Dallas. Mm-hmm. And we did well. It was the West Coast tournament. That was such a great tournament. Did you play that with the grass like that?
That was in Riverside, right?
Riverside. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Was
a
phenomenal
nice
tournament. And we I think we got fifth place, and we ended up going 4-0 in the prelims. And that's something like I never do. I don't know. On all the teams I played with in from New York, like I remember just going 2-2 like a lot.
Yeah.
And I mean, I played with Wolfpack, and we did really well. We had some podiums, and played with Wrecking Crew. We had podium finishes, but this was it was a really good feeling to go 4-0 again. Mm-hmm. And got 5th place that tournament, and then went into World Cup and made it to the finals. And that was a really, really big deal at the time to make it to the finals in World Cup in Division One.
Oh yeah.
And we had an epic match with the TMG Outlaws, and man, it was that was crazy. I remember going out to the Dorito 2 off the break. This was in overtime. Oh, no. Sorry, this was a tie match with 1 minute left. The World Cup final. I remember going to the Dorito 2 off break, so I got a lot of ground, and I had a really good point. I shot one guy, I shot the other guy, and I made it to the 50 Dorito. And unfortunately, one of the players behind me, I guess the ref saw that he got a penalty, and a red flag went up. And a red flag under a minute gives the other team the swing point, and we lost that tournament on a penalty in the final minute. Yeah. So, but more motivation, right, to go into that next year, 2015.
Yeah. And
then we kind of just had an awesome run in the semi-pro division. I think we got 4 first place and 1 second place. Probably similar to when you were on Avalanche, right? Didn't you guys, or you and Aftermath, were always going back and forth?
Yeah, we had a pretty good rivalry going back and forth, and I think we won a World Cup against them too. It might have been, I don't know what year it was. I think it was like 7 or 8. I think it might have been 7. But those were fun games, man. Those were nail biters for sure. Every single one of them.
It's crazy. I feel like it always comes down to something, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes. But those are the ones you remember.
So, what do you think works for Uprising now? Because somehow you guys figure out a way to beat us. As far as in the tournaments go, I think you are one ahead of us right now. I think we face you in all 3 tournaments, and you guys beat us twice, and I think we beat you once. Mm-hmm. What do you think is the winning mixture on the matches that you guys play, and what do you guys think you lack? So what are your strong points and what are your weak points on that you think on Uprising?
So one of the strong points I think is chemistry. The core of the team, Graham Arnold, Nate Schrader, Brandon Olson, Alex Borromeo, they've been playing together for a really long time. And Joel Eaton has been playing, mixed in between them. Mm-hmm. And then you have the dynamic of Tommy Tucker and Aaron Ormrod have known each other for a long time. So they kind of, they are the Uprising name. And then you have, me and you have James sprinkled in between that. But really it's that core, those 4 core guys that I talked about that really come crunch time, they seem to pull it out and make big things happen and important things happen, right? Like we talked about your role, on the team, and for my role as a front player, my job is to get down the field as fast as possible, earn some kills for my team, and then kind of leave it in their hands and let them kind of pull things out. And because they have so much chemistry and they've been playing together for such a long time, that communication is huge in tournaments, and I think it's what's allowed us to compete with the top teams. What's our weak point? Closing. Man, we get in so many situations where we'll eliminate someone off the break or 2, and we have the body advantage, but we have difficulty closing. And I think that comes with experience. But that's one of the most frustrating things is when you have the point won, and you just slowly give it away or quickly give it away, right? We talk about pro, things happen so fast, but that's one of our weak points.
Yeah, no, I agree, man, because when you guys are on, you're on. Like, there were the times that you beat us, this last one at least, I think we got up on you guys a little bit, but then for some, I don't know what the hell happened, but you guys had flipped a switch, and we just could not figure out anything on you guys.
And Schrader.
Yeah, which is illegal, by the way. You can't do that. Everybody's like, "Oh, he's dunking on everybody."
That was dope, bro.
It was okay. It was imaginative. It was creative. It was cool, but it was illegal. You can't do that. So I'm putting that out there.
I've seen you jump over things and flip over things and shoot people.
But so if he would have jumped up and shot him like this and came back down, that would have been fine. But he supported his weight on the W, which you cannot do.
Oh man, me and my buddy were in the pit and we were laughing because the way he described it, he was like, Nate jumped up, bunkered the guy, and then had time to look to the left and to the right and come back down or some shit like that. I don't know, but it was such an epic move. But we're a freestyle team, right? Like I think Nate called that himself. You know, the coach Craig drew up a play for us, but I think he just totally freestyled that move himself, and that's sometimes can suit us really well.
Yeah,
we're a freestyle team.
No, it's good, man. You can tell that you guys, you need some experience, that's for sure, but that's what these tournaments are going to do for you. And the camaraderie and the team, the gelling, you can tell that you guys are a tight-knit group. So that's going to be definitely one of your strong points that going into the further seasons for you guys. So, dude, I know we have so much more to talk about, and I'm sure we will do another podcast, but I think we should kind of wrap it up a little bit. I had a good time, man. I found out a lot about yourself, and it was really cool kind of hearing all the things and what you've gone through and where you came up. And it's so cool too because you're only 22, and it's such a different upbringing as far as into the paintball world than what I had and what other people have. And it was very cool to hear and listen to. But I'm sure we have plenty more to talk about, which we will, in the future for sure.
Absolutely. I just want to tell you, I'm just so appreciative for the opportunity. This has been really awesome. I've never done anything like this, as far as paintball and doing a podcast. So thank you for having me on, first and foremost.
For sure.
And if I could give you any words of encouragement, I think what you're doing is great. As far as we talk about, it's on us to grow the sport. I think you've kind of taken it upon yourself to do something like a podcast and to engage an audience and create content and grow the sport further. So, and then on the field, you're a baller, man. Like you pull off some crazy shit. You meet a lot of people in life, and some people are just kind of on another level in whatever it is, whether it's business or sports. And you're one of those guys that's on another level. So I really enjoy watching you play. Some of the dynamic moves you pull off, and I look to work hard and create some of the same magic.
Well, I really appreciate it, man, and I'm sure you will. And I think it's one thing, if I can give you advice, enjoy it. And step on that field enjoying what you do, and it will reflect. And that's the biggest thing. That's what keeps a smile on my face, regardless of the outcome. So where can people find you?
Where can you find me? At Alex Gray 21 on Instagram, on Facebook, Alex Gray, and I think that's about it.
Cool. Well,
until one day I do a podcast,
There you go. Then I'll be a guest on your podcast. Well, I appreciate it, man, and good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you, Carl. I appreciate your time.
All right, no worries, Alex. Take care, bud.
All right, have a good night, brother.
See ya. Hopefully you guys weren't thrown off too much with that live session we threw in the middle. that was pretty cool. I had a good time with that, and my goal eventually is to do some live. I plan on doing a live podcast, possibly in Chicago, maybe even World Cup if Chicago goes well. But I need to do more live videos anyway. I think they're cool. They're very interactive, and it's a great idea, I think. Not necessarily maybe for every single podcast, but just to throw them in here or there and have some live questions, I think would be great. Maybe I can, throw it up on YouTube, do a live YouTube thing or a live Facebook thing, and go from there. But thank you, Alex, for sitting down and taking the time, answering some silly questions with me, and just reliving a bunch of paintball memories. And it's cool because you never know where somebody started out or where they come from, or what struggles they're going through until you actually sit down and listen and have a conversation with them. So thank you so much, Alex. Another big thank you goes to our sponsors, Dr. Paintball. You can find them over at drpaintball.com. also to Carbon Paintball, where they have a base layer that I wear. But you can find them at carbonpaintball.com. And another big thank you goes to Planet Eclipse, which, you guessed it, their website is planeteclipse.com. And also to Charm City. So I will be giving away a headband, but I will be posting everything up on social media. It'll be a question from the podcast. You'll have to figure it out, but I'll be posting something up about it after I post the podcast itself up. So make sure you keep an eye out for any social media post by myself that will have anything to do with the podcast giveaway. So again, guys, man, another one through. That is number 20. I'm getting through these things. That's awesome. I every single one of them has been great, and I can't wait to continue to do this. I love the feedback, and all the guests have been awesome. So thank you to you guys again for tuning in. I really appreciate it, and you know that the cool thing about the era of today is that I can have one-on-one communication with you guys. So if you have any questions, concerns, suggestions for guests, go ahead and shoot me a message over on Instagram. It's cmarkhizzle, or on the Playing On Podcast Instagram, and then as well as Facebook, Carl Microwave Markowski, or the Playing On Podcast on Facebook. And I will try and get to your guys' questions as soon as possible. So again, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you again soon here on the Playing On Podcast. See ya.